Now what we get here at the beginning of John is obviously not exactly the same as the secret book of John, but we get some of the same themes, right? There are two sides. There's the side of light, and then there's the side of the flesh, the side of the spirit, or the side of the material world. And the Word comes down to help lead you out of the material world back into the world of the Spirit. If you look at John chapter 3, which is just on the next page over. John chapter 3. Now there was a Pharisee named Nicodemus, a leader of the Jews. He came to Jesus by night and said to him, Rabbi, we know that you are a teacher who has come from God, for no one can do these signs that you do apart from the presence of God. Jesus answered him, Very truly I tell you, no one can see the kingdom of God without being born from above. Born from above. What does that mean, born from above?
Like above is heaven?
Presumably it has something to do with that spirit world above this material world. Were you going to say something, Dana?
I was going to say, like God, from God.
Maybe. It's unclear as of yet, but he says you have to be born from above. Nicodemus said, How can anyone be born after having grown old? Can one enter a second time into the mother's womb and be born? So Nicodemus takes this very literally. He says, how can I be born again? I'm like an adult. I'm 6 foot tall. I can't squeeze back in my mother's womb. What do you mean be born again? Jesus answered, Very truly I tell you, no one can enter the kingdom of God without being born of water and spirit. Right? Water is this level, this material level, right? We got the level of the blood, the level of the flesh, the level of the water, and then the other level is the spirit level. You have to be born of the spirit level. What is born of the flesh is flesh, and what is born of the spirit is spirit. Do not be astonished that I say to you, you must be born from above. The wind blows where it chooses, and you hear the sound of it, but you do not know where it comes from or where it goes. So so it is with everyone who is born of the Spirit. And Jesus goes on to explain. He talks about earthly things and heavenly things. It's not the same as the message in the secret gospel of John, but it's similar, right? We're down here on this material world, and we should be thinking about what's going on in the spirit world. And Jesus is coming down to help us get back in touch with the spirit world. We've been born of the material world, and we have to be born of the spirit world. The kind of view of the universe that's embedded in the gospel, or the secret book of John, seems to be very similar to this type of worldview that's embedded in the gospel of John. It's not the same thing, but it seems to be very similar in certain respects. Jesus is going to come down and help us, according to secret book of John. He's going to help us awake and overcome our forgetfulness. And this John, he's going to help us be born again of spirit, whatever that means. Right? In both stories, there's this mythical view of the universe divided in half between the spirit world and the material world, and something from the spirit world is going to come and save us from our earthly, fleshly, bloody, watery existence. According to the secret book of John, Jesus is going to help us move into the light. It seems to be very similar to what we get in the Gospel of John. Probably, we cannot know for sure because we don't have time machines, we can't go back into the past, but probably whoever wrote the secret book of John or the Gospel of John, they might have been fighting with each other. It's possible that they were writing two books around the same time, arguing against the other group's view, right? One group says, this is how Jesus came to save us, and the other group says, no, you're wrong, this is how Jesus came to save us. One of the fundamental differences is that the guy who authored the secret book of John, or the group that did, they think that Yahweh is a bad guy. And they think that you guys have been idiots to have been following Yahweh all along. And Jesus came to save you from Yahweh. Do you guys have any questions about the secret book of John? Or, I can't go too in depth into the relationship to the Gospel of John because we can't know for sure the relationship here, but it seems to me that we see some similar themes. But do you guys have any questions about this? Have any of you guys ever heard of the Secret Book of John before?